juicy hot links. The hard part is choosing between fresh curly fries, classic baked beans, or coleslaw on the side. Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome in to Ticket Weeknights. This is the Husker Football Hour with Tom Shatel of the Omaha World Herald. Before we bring him in, again, if you guys want to join in, Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo, Channel 961. Filling in for DP here, at least for this week. But nonetheless, we'll still have Tom Shatel. And again, feel free to chime in, ask for some of your own questions. That number is 402-464-5685. All right, let's bring him in. Tom Shatel on the Allo VIP line. Really understand the importance of exceptional service. Tom Shatel, how's it going on this somewhat of a sour Monday?
Yeah, it's going good. It took me 2 hours to get back from the game Friday night. It took me an hour to get out of Lincoln. Then another hour, and it was just kind of added to the whole thing. But I think most people I interacted with all weekend kind of calmed down and had a good perspective on the thing. A lot of people got their hopes up, and I thought they'd win and play better, and didn't happen, and so here we are.
Yeah, sitting here 3-1. I want to shout out the volleyball team. They took care of business. Obviously, got things done. Put a smile on a lot of people's faces as they kind of woke up after SMU. But yeah, on this football program, before we even dive into the offense and what we saw on defense, I mean, did it feel like? And when I say we, I'm throwing myself in there. We as in the media, certainly on my part, and maybe you could argue it seeped into the locker room a little bit. But maybe we're starting to overlook Illinois. I mean, 2 seasons ago, they win 8 games. I know last year they only won 5, but they were a ranked opponent. Brett Bielema is a great head coach about all his stops. You can question the Arkansas one. But I kind of feel like at a certain point, maybe this team was getting overlooked in Illinois.
Yeah, I think the question I had going into the game was, the level of play is going to go up. And I was looking at the quarterback. Well, how is he going to play when they've got a veteran, a defensive coach who's seen everything, and he's going to throw a bunch of stuff at him. How is Dylan Raiola going to play? And it turned out to be the exact opposite. He played great and handled it, and nobody else. I mean, a lot of the other people, didn't handle the moment as well. So, I thought Rule had some telling comments today about they played tight. They still, they got in a close game, and they just kind of went back to not knowing how to win. And but I think you start by giving Illinois credit. They were fired up to win that game. They came out talking trash, and they kind of carried it through the whole night. And Nebraska didn't have that energy. It wasn't Colorado energy. They needed Colorado energy in that game, and and they're going to need that every game now. So, I saw a team in Scarlet volleyball team a few weeks ago get swept to that by SMU, and they looked flat. That I think that was probably a wake-up call. Is this going to be a wake-up call that's going to save Nebraska's football season?
Yeah, and when I watched that game, the second half, that defense in particular, it didn't look like they're playing hard. Just looked like they're incredibly frustrated, and the penalties certainly have to add to it. But missed assignments, guys, putting their hands up a little more in the games prior, where it felt like everybody was on page. Speaking on that offensive side of the ball, that offensive line, especially in that second half when they really had to start pushing the ball to try to get in scoring position, were you surprised at how well a guy like Turner Corcoran, even held up, kind of getting shoved into that role?
Yeah, they had tough duty because, good old Brett Bielema, the old Fox, said, I'm even though it's on Nebraska's home field, I'm going to take away the run. I'm going to load up the box and take away the run and make the hotshot kid beat us. And he almost did.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's a strategy that will play well going forward with other schools, but right now the best running game is going to be Dylan's arm to kind of loosen things up in the league. And then I like the running game if they're not going up against if the numbers up front are to the opponent's advantage. If they're outnumbered. I like Dowdell. I like him a lot, and I think the offensive line is better. It's all relative. I think this is a 6 or 7 win team. I don't think they have great talent. They have good talent, but they don't have a lot of great talent. Certainly have enough to win that game last Friday night. But they didn't play well. I thought they got outcoached. I don't think that Nebraska had an answer for a lot of stuff. Certainly the passing game did, but defensively they didn't have any answers. There was always an open Illinois receiver, and that's Illinois is they have a nice team, but they don't have great offensive skill talent. So these guys were wide open. So it's just one of those nights, and yet they still could have won, right? You make a play here or there, and they, or a kick, but that. Today Rule talked about, he kind of slipped this in. He said a lot of Mondays are great. He really explains things and really gets into stuff. And he just kind of threw this in there in the middle about, basically not being surprised because this is the second year, or this is year 2. And I don't think it was meant to be an excuse. It's just, he knows what this is like. It's just reality, and the roster's not set yet. It's better, and the quarterback makes him a lot better at that position, but it's still in progress. So again, they still could have won that game the other night. But it's their margin for error is not great if they don't show up and play well and get out there. And yes, they did play hard. They played, but they didn't play with the kind of purpose you need to execute things. And defensively, it was just kind of a mess at times. That offense, nobody coming into that game thought that offense was going to run up and down the field on Nebraska. So, after I watched KU a couple of times, I thought, well, I don't think KU is quite as good. Illinois, had to go down to the end to beat them. So, but as it turns out, Nebraska, UTEP, Colorado, and Northern Iowa. So we didn't know much about them yet either. But now we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I had to kind of summarize the game, I think you're right. It's a silver lining. You managed to go to overtime when it feels like everybody in the stadium thought this was not a great showing from Nebraska, but it really did just come down to a few key moment plays where Nebraska failed to execute. You can point to the missed field goal. You can go ahead and point to the touchdown pass that ended up being an interception from Illinois, which you don't give credit to Illinois for making a phenomenal play on the ball. You can point to the penalties. You can point to the offensive line or the defense in that, what might have been one of the shortest overtimes I've watched in a long time. I mean, for Illinois, it was a couple plays they scored. For Nebraska, penalties and out, right out of the gate. When you're looking at this offense, Dylan Raiola, I don't think anybody's pointing the fingers at him or necessarily anybody individually, but 24 for 35, just short of 300 yards, 3 touchdowns with a long of 44, takes 5 sacks in that game. I mean, we can't really be asking too much more from Dylan Raiola. It feels like that part of the game where we're finally confident. So what are these final links in this offense? Because again, I think you're right that we're not have the skill. So if we're like Georgia, if we don't play well, we can still find us to win. If we don't play well, these teams in the Big Ten are going to beat us. What are some of those missing links on offense that you feel like we're just not quite taking advantage of right now?
Well, start with the injury to Alvano is just it's not good. If you don't have a kicker, certainly not criticizing Hall, but I mean it changes play calling, and it changes. It just you have to score. You have to get down there quick. Really close. I mean, so. But I thought the silver lining was, I thought one of the great things about the game, maybe the best thing from the Nebraska standpoint, was seeing what Raiola did. Mm-hmm. I mean, I didn't know how he would handle. Again, he handled it the night better than anybody. And I mean, his talent. I mean, people across the country were just shaking their heads like. I mean, there were NFL scouts on Twitter going, this guy's a first rounder. I can't wait to see what he's like in 3 or 4 years. I mean, he's a stud, and we have to watch him, develop before our eyes. And what else is he going to come up with? So they have to help him. They have to block. Mm-hmm. I thought they did. The sacks kind of. Overtime, it just got out of control, and I think Illinois changed to get out of the zone, and they got back into man and went after him. But other teams will do that too. I think, again, I don't expect teams to load up the box to run, to stop the run like Illinois did. If they do, Nebraska really has to make them pay, and they have to make it hurt so that they don't do that ever again. And that'll open up the running game. So I think a lot of the talent on offense is there. It's just I'm not sure the offense was even really a problem the other night. They couldn't run it, and that was that offensive line. And I guess you could throw 2 tight ends in there. And try to do it that way, but they just weren't going to move Illinois out of there. They just don't have the line to do that, I don't think. And they weren't going to run too much. But again, I think watching the quarterback, that's a guy they haven't had in a long time. Mm-hmm. And again, like I said, he's the best passing quarterback I've ever seen at Nebraska. And some of the stuff he did Friday night, there was one pass where he threw over. There were 2 defenders, maybe 10 or 15 yards apart. He threw over the top of one and in front of the other. It just dropped this little pass in there. It was just beautiful to watch. He just does that with ease. And so I came out of that game going, okay, this one hurts, but I'm optimistic because I think he's not acting like a freshman.
Yeah, and he's shown his ability to throw, against any of the coverages that Illinois was trying to show. They were switching, like you said, between man and zone quite a bit, trying to get him guessing, having to think a little bit more on that pocket. And, he was cutting up just about anything. If he had the time in the pocket, he looked really good identifying where that ball needs to go. We've had quarterbacks in the past. Adrian Martinez, he was a phenomenal quarterback, but in that second year in particular, teams realized he really struggled to throw against zone. You're right. And Dylan Raiola was just a really impressive performance. And it does give you a lot of hope for this offense. You just got to hope that that defense can hold strong and give them better chance where they're not forced to try to pick it up out of rhythm. But, defense, special teams, I think it's fair to say you lose those two phases of the game. And you mentioned the kicker. Are you a little bit surprised that, in year two, we're still kind of seeing these same special teams issues where the kick return team looks leaky at times? The field goal kicker, if it's 30 yards plus, we're never super confident that it's going to be a sure go ahead. You surprised to see this in year two, knowing that it was a problem in year one that needed to be addressed?
Yeah, I think it's an injury. Once you have an injury to a kicker, I don't know how many programs have 2 or 3 guys lined up to kick. Some do, but they aren't there yet. But they didn't expect an injury, and Tristan, he had a couple of issues in spring, and just he was having to work through that. Maybe that's when the injury was happening. But I just don't know if he's going to come back. Is they going to have to shut him down this year, or I don't think they're at that point yet. But no, I think that they, but yeah, the coverage stuff is that's got to get better. And part of the issue the other night was the wind. You got to kick it out of the end zone. They're having a hard time with that with the wind when they were going up against it. So, but it was a field day for the second guessers like me who thought that they should have run the ball when it was like 3rd and 3 and at the end of the game. And I frankly thought a pass was okay. I was trying to run against those guys I thought it'd be easier to pass. It just they just missed it. So it's one loss and everything's still on schedule. They can't afford to get off schedule again. But they just got to get the defense. 2 games in a row now they haven't tackled well. I don't know what's going on there, and I wonder if they need to, some of these quarterbacks, if they need to use some creative ways to get some pressure, because they didn't seem to be getting any last week.
Yeah, and that's 2 weeks in a row, where the coaches even mentioned it. The yards after first contact have just been piling up. You and I, they kind of exposed that a little bit, that maybe Nebraska isn't as strong in terms of tackling as we might have thought. And then Illinois certainly exposed that. On top of them just having some really great run blocking and, forcing Nebraska's defense, those corner safeties, to have to make some tough open field tackles. But it's just kind of been a theme in these 2 games in a row now. We're a little bit surprised by Nebraska's defense to certainly tackle. Do you expect Tony White to get this patched up by Purdue? Purdue likes to run a lot of outside zone, stretch it out a little bit. Do you expect Tony White to be able to get this dialed in? We're working with a lot of the same guys of last year, and, that problem rarely reared its head.
Yeah, I think, that it's really better get it figured out this week. I'm on board with the whole year 2 thing, but tackling doesn't take 2 years. Now, it's a habit. It's all these things are habits, but these guys tackled well last year, I thought. I don't think defense was really the issue last year. So I don't know what's going on. If, Rule mentioned today that looking ahead to what the record's going to be, and a lot of people were saying 7-0, and the worst thing that could have happened it was having Kirk Herbstreit say 7-0. I think they're going to. And then last week, he actually doubled down on that statement, saying he believed after the first 3 games that they would definitely go undefeated, going to Ohio State. So they aren't at that point where they can believe any of that crap. They just can't. So they got to go. The Big Ten, it's long past time to. I take this league for granted. And all these people that were saying 7-0, assuming that they would beat Illinois and Purdue and Indiana and Rutgers. Those are the teams that they've been losing to the last 10 years. I mean, as I said, these other teams like Indiana and Purdue and Rutgers and Illinois, they see Nebraska as the team that they can beat. So they see Nebraska as the team that, okay, well, that should be a W. So I don't know what people are getting all this. They haven't won more than 5 games since 2016. So all of a sudden they're going to win 7 in a row. So, but that's what we do. That's what sports writers do and fans. We look at the schedule. We put down, what we think is going to happen. But you can't do that in the Big Ten. You got to respect it. You got to respect every team. This is a tough one. Purdue will come out brawling this week after 2 straight losses. Their season's not going the way they thought. And then, Rutgers will be a really tough out. As now all of a sudden Indiana's on fire. So they've got to get a lot of things right going into this week. And, I think this is a game where it's 11 a.m. I think it'd be good for them to go on the road and kind of get away from everything and just kind of band together in the hotel and all that stuff. It's 11 a.m. You don't expect the Boiler crowd to be, I've been there. It's, it can be a good atmosphere. It's not intimidating. And again, coming off 2 losses, 11 a.m. I think Nebraska could really use a fast start and just kind of calm things down there. But yeah, they're going to have to come out fighting because Purdue's trying to save their season right now.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that on their side as we got to throw it to our first break here, is just kind of recalibrating the sites because, yeah, you mentioned it, and you can even throw Joe Klatt out there. The amount of hype around Nebraska was hitting national attention, and for some reasons with Dylan Raiola, it makes sense, and for others, we haven't beat a lot of these teams. And in the Big Ten, even if you got the better talent, there's so many great coaches that they can scheme their way to a win, even if they got lesser talent. So certainly something we got to keep in mind, keeping away the Kool-Aid a little bit and watching this team actually do it before we start writing on the wall. I mean, we're even here in 12-team playoff conversations, which is kind of hard to believe. So with that being said, we'll throw it to break here. We got Tom Shatel of the Omaha World Herald on the Allo VIP line. So don't go anywhere. We'll keep it rolling, but keep in mind, we got NFL on the brick and mortar coming up. So use the streams, Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo Channel 961. We'll keep it rolling. Talk to you guys on the other side.
It's the fall sports season, and that means that the school year is back in session, and you're planning road trips for Nebraska football games and following your kids around to their different events. Stop telling yourself you'll upgrade your car someday and do it now. Mullen Motors Lot is full of great vehicles to take home so you don't have to worry about your current car struggling through another season. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Lake and find your next ride. As your fall schedule gets busy, you'll need a reliable way to get to your destinations. Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
What a day. I could sure use an afternoon pick-me-up. Hold up. The new 93.7 The Ticket location has a milk, coffee, and tea inside? Oh, yeah. This is a game changer.
Need an afternoon pick-me-up? How about a coffee or smoothie on your way to work? Stop by the Ticket Mill location on 1040 O Street to get your go-to drink or try out our new game day drinks, exclusive to the Ticket Mill location. We know it'll make your day a million times better.
construction industry or wanting a new scene? The electrical workers of local union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Be a memory for your grandchildren. Among Nebraska adults age 65 or older, 47% report current alcohol use. Drinking too much can cause harm to children, family members, and loved ones. By drinking less, you will still be around for your grandchildren. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Ryan, with all this red and all these people around, I'm still not seeing the tailgate.
Todd Spidell, former body shop owner, terrible driver.
We're getting close. Now, did you know with 3 locations in Lincoln and hundreds of years of combined technician experience, we can get Husker fans back on the road even quicker and safer after their tailgate mishaps? Oh, Todd, turn left right here.
Left or right?
Left, right here.
Right?
Well, you wait for the tow truck. I'm getting a hot dog.
Well, I guess while I'm waiting. All right! Most recommended! Eustace Body Shop! Woohoo!
Dude, you should be on American Idol.
You really think so?
No.
Accidents happen, even to Husker fans. If it happens to you, call Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
This is Bree Fansteel, local race car driver. Join me and James Rowland every Sunday at 7 p.m. for The Finish Line, where we discuss off-road, on-road, and sometimes next-to-the-road racing on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Oh, Kansas.
Here we go. If I could have today.
You just don't stop giving, do you?
Green flag, we're underway.
The closest finish in NASCAR Cup Series history.
What a finish, boys.
Close to downtown, amazing campgrounds. 4 NASCAR races in one weekend, and it's the playoffs.
Goddamn drive.
Now you're just showing off. But we're not mad. In fact, we're looking forward to it. NASCAR Playoffs Weekend at Kansas Speedway, September 27th through the 29th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com. If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com. Follow the Huskers to the City of Angels when Nebraska plays at USC in November. Book your official Nebraska alumni travel package at huskerfantravel.com. Choose from 2 or 3 night options that include a downtown LA hotel, exclusive welcome event, game day transportation, and the official Husker Huddle pregame party. Add on game tickets for an optional upgrade. Transportation to and from LA not included. Join the official Nebraska alumni trip to see the Huskers play at USC. Spots are limited, so book your trip now at huskerfantravel.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and Truck Month is back. We have absolutely gigantic savings right now at Koppel. They are offering $12,500 off on select new pickups. That is not a mistake. You heard right. $12,500 off list price right now on select new pickups. Those discounted units, though, will not last long. These are all manager specials. You have to come in now, so hurry in down 144th Street or shop online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. Stock number G356093 must trade.
Your child was embarrassed when you arrived at their basketball game. 75% of parents or guardians report current alcohol use. Drinking alcohol can cause harm to children and loved ones. By drinking less, your child will be excited to see you at their basketball game. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing. Heating and air.
And electrical.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in to the Husker Football Hour with Tom Shatel of the Omaha World Herald. Harrison Arns filling in for DP. And if you guys want to join in, use the Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685 or use the streams. All right, let's go ahead and bring him back in. Like I said, we got Tom Shatel of the Omaha World Herald. I want to talk about recalibrating the sights here because you did mention some of the expectation as national attention got towards Nebraska. Some people are saying 7-0. Some people even flirt with the idea of Nebraska getting into this new 12-team playoff. How do we recalibrate from here? Because I do think a lot of people, if you would have said you're 3-1 at this point, most people would actually take that. They won't maybe be super happy, but that means you beat Colorado or you beat Illinois. Either way, you only dropped likely one of those games. So recalibrating from here, what is a reasonable expectation for Nebraska fans on a win total?
Well, I think a lot of the excitement happened because they beat Colorado and the way it was who they beat and the way they beat them. So everybody, they got ranked, and then people started getting excited. There were people, and when I say people picking them 7-0, that was not the majority of Husker fans.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the majority were probably hoping to get 6 or 7, and if they got better than that, they'd take it. So I think most people are still fine and understand that it's going to be a game once in a while. It's just you get your hopes up, right? And so people went into the Friday night. Illinois, they beat them last year. Kind of had just again, it was a wake-up call. We saw it with volleyball, and that's a different standard. They're talking about national championships. But for Nebraska football, a good reminder that every game has to be Colorado. I don't care who you're playing. Every game has to be that effort, that kind of concentration and execution. And I'm going to watch this have to see it as we go forward. But, when does Dylan take over? When does he become the fire? The guy who puts everybody and keeps everybody in line, which is usually the senior's job. When is he that guy who, by the way he plays and gets things done, become the sort of heart and soul of this thing, and the fire. His old man had plenty of fire, and there was never, Dominic Raiola never played tight in his life. He was always loose, and he was usually on top of you. Trying to bury you into the ground. And just interesting to hear Rule today talk about the freshman as if he was an older guy, and he was the guy out there trying to make it happen, trying to get everybody going. And so I'm going to watch that as a sort of a thing to, sort of a sidelight story, it's a sideline story as we go forward here, because, it's being in all those tight games. I do get it. I'm a golfer. We get the yips. I get the shanks, and I keep thinking about how I'm going to shank it. If I get over the ball on a big shot, I'm not thinking about how I'm going to hole it. I'm thinking about how am I going to screw this up. And so how do you get past that? Well, I don't think Tiger Woods ever had that. Well, maybe he had some problems with some chipping a few years ago, but talent talent gets things done, and if there's going to be a breakthrough to the other side, winning close games, it's going to be talent, and I think it's going to be the quarterback. And he almost, by God, did it Friday night. So I think is he the Ghostbuster here, the guy that gets him to the other side? It's going to be interesting to watch, but I think he's kind of taken over already. It's fun.
Yeah, it's crazy to even have this conversation because I think before the season started, I would have been saying that's too much, but I mean he's proven it in every game. And let's say this Illinois, even though it was a loss, just the way how Illinois wanted to play Nebraska defensively, he still shined in a really good way, and along with our tight ends, along with the receivers. Obviously, outside of that one dropped pass that ended up turning it into an interception. But Dylan Rail has proven that he can be a leader on this offensive side of the ball. Have you liked how Satterfield has tried to implement him in this offense so far? The UTEP game was a little interesting because it wasn't too flashy. Colorado, they really just had a lot of success running the ball, even though he still made some great plays. You and I more of the same, but Illinois, we saw a really strong sign that Satterfield's going to go ahead and trust him to sling the rock. Do you like Satterfield, the way he's calling this, and do you think we're going to see more of Dylan Rail going forward on a more pass-heavy offense if it's available?
Yeah, I wrote this earlier in August that for run the damn ball guy, it was this was going to be a very frustrating thing because Satterfield loves to throw it, and he's got all the toys. He's got more toys than last year, and he's got people that can throw and catch. And you might say that's the strength of their offense. I think that they're very capable of running. I love the two running backs they use. I love those guys. We heard Rule, but if you're going to load up the box and take away the run, Satterfield says perfect. That's what I want to do anyway. I want to throw it. So, but today, Rule said this was very interesting that even though we may be doing a good job moving the ball on the air, we still have to try to run it and try to wear people down. So, he's the head coach. He will, he's in charge. So, we will see about that going forward. But it's always an interesting question. Just because they load the box doesn't mean you can't run it. Well, Nebraska always had that option. You can load it up, but they're going to spread you out eventually. And so, just because they load the box doesn't mean you don't keep trying to run and pound on the wall until it breaks down. I don't know that Nebraska has that kind of offense, or even that kind of offensive line, but it's they didn't get much done on the ground last week, and I think they're going to have to do better if they're going to start winning games again.
Yeah, it's running the ball works great and well and all, but you got to have the offensive line that proves they can do it at a consistent basis to where you're not wasting downs, getting behind schedule. And then obviously the penalties that showed up in an ugly way versus Illinois more so than it has at any other game this season. Just some really, blowing your toes off kind of plays where, defense isn't doing anything other than you just making miscues mentally. So again, when it comes to that run, like if we can be dominant in it, great. If it can be an accent to the passing game, or the other way around, if the passing game can be an accent to our run game, fantastic. But we got to have an offensive line that is able to push defenses around. And Illinois, I kind of circled that. I'll be curious to see how this offensive line continues to gel. Obviously, Mazuka, if he gets back in the mix, what does that look like? Matt Rule made some comments about him as well. But if we're going to nitpick anything about Dylan Raiola, I thought he had a fantastic game. It's hard to ask him to do anything else. Do you have any worries about him? I shouldn't say worries, but do you see opportunities for him to run more and go ahead and just take the green space in front of him? He hasn't shown that. I don't know if it is a really big part of his game. In high school, he was able to do it, but obviously D1 football is a whole other animal.
Yeah, I would make a living on it. I think it's okay once in a while. He's done it a few times, and he always seems to bounce back up. But when I was watching for him, okay, get up now. Come on, get up. He bounces right back up. I'm fine. I got it. But, you worry about that time where he slides wrong or plants his foot wrong or, it's unnecessary. You don't want to take a sack, but you don't need him to run that much, if anything. So does it keep people honest? Not necessarily, because they know he isn't great at it. So they know he's not going to run that much. And so they're not going to be worried about it too much. I just do all you can to get the right protection packages in there. Make sure those running backs are blocking, not like overtime. Just can't. Here they come. So just keep him upright in the pocket, and he's going to get the job done. So, I don't think a running quarterback. I like the Harburg angle. Let's get him back. I think he should be a bigger part of the offense. There's a guy who can run. They had him throwing a pass back to Raiola in that game, but there's a guy I would use maybe on a jet sweep or throw him a pass and let him go on a screen or some kind of deal like that where he becomes sort of like an H-back or a tight end type of guy. Sort of a hybrid, running back, tight end, receiver type of guy. He's got wheels. So rather than Raiola run, I'd rather have Harburg out there doing all the damage.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And the packages with Harburg, for the most part, have been pretty successful. And he kind of reminds me of Taylor Martinez, just only purely in the way that doesn't look like the freakiest athlete, but when they get that dead end, straight ahead speed, and they get a few steps to fully gather, they become tough guys to try to find an angle on. I think Harburg's breakaway speed can surprise people, especially, if he's got the power to drop that first defender and it's a while before that safety corner, whoever can get over there. He's proven that he can break away speed despite being, one of those bigger athletes out there. All right, with that being said, we'll throw it to our final break. And on the other side, we do got to talk about the other Raiola. Obviously got 2026 QB commit from Dillon's brothers. So we're going to talk about that and just overall how this QB class is starting to shape up here. So don't go anywhere. We're going to keep it rolling. The Tom Shatel Husker Football Hour right here on 93.7 The Ticket.
For 15 years, Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping has been helping Lincoln become healthier, happier, and more fit through our proven combination of kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching. And to celebrate 15 years of success, we're offering you 50% off our next 10-week challenge beginning September 14th. That's 10 weeks of fun group fitness classes and individualized coaching for half off. And at the end of the 10 weeks, someone's walking away with $1,000 for the best transformation. Come check it out. What do you have to lose? Click on the banner at theticketfm.com to learn more. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill or 70th and Vine. And check us out online at fxblincoln.com.
It's the greatest time of the year again. Kickoff is here and football is officially back. Over 1 million fans across 33 states got in the game last year by making picks on Underdog, and this year you can too. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward and signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com and sign up with promo code EARLY, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code EARLY to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 19 plus in Nebraska and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Looking for a place to relax and unwind after a busy day? Cigars Lounge at 8th and Q in the Haymarket is the perfect place to enjoy good company, a cocktail, and of course a cigar. Visit Cigars Lounge on Tuesdays for Top Shelf Tuesday and enjoy 50% off select spirits. Cigars Lounge offers Perdomo, San Cristobal, Rock Patel, and more of the top stogie brands that you know and love. But that's not all. If you mention this ad between noon and 5 p.m., you'll receive 15% off your entire tab just by mentioning the ticket. Check out Cigars Lounge today at 8th and Q in the Haymarket.
For 15 years, Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping has been helping Lincoln become healthier, happier, and more fit through our proven combination of kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching. And to celebrate 15 years of success, we're offering you 50% off our next 10-week challenge beginning September 14th. That's 10 weeks of fun group fitness classes and individualized coaching for half off. And at the end of the 10 weeks, someone's walking away with $1,000 for the best transformation. Come check it out. What do you have to lose? Click on the banner at theticketfm.com to learn more. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill or 70th and Vine. And check us out online at fxblincoln.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com. Follow the Huskers to the City of Angels when Nebraska plays at USC in November. Book your official Nebraska alumni travel package at huskerfantravel.com. Choose from 2 or 3 night options that include a downtown LA hotel, exclusive welcome event, game day transportation, and the official Husker Huddle pregame party. Add on game tickets for an optional upgrade. Transportation to and from LA not included. Join the official Nebraska alumni trip to see the Huskers play at USC. Spots are limited, so book your trip now at huskerfantravel.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and Truck Month is back. We have absolutely gigantic savings right now at Koppel. They are offering $12,500 off on select new pickups. That is not a mistake. You heard right. $12,500 off list price right now on select new pickups. Those discounted units, though, will not last long. These are all manager specials. You have to come in now, so hurry in down 144th Street or shop online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. Stock number G356093 must trade.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Wrapping things up here on the Husker Football Hour with the Omaha World Herald's very own Tom Shatel. And to wrap things up here, we only got about 5 minutes. And I want to get to this, as I forgot to bring it up in that previous segment. You know, Tom Shatel, I'm curious, just from the stadium sights and sounds, you don't have to look very far to figure out that Nebraska in overtime has been pretty abysmal in these past 9-10 years. Could you kind of feel that when it got to overtime, even before those 2 big, massive plays from Illinois to start things off, or maybe you could just feel the stadium hold their breath?
Yeah, I think it when they didn't they missed the field goal and didn't get that touchdown. It just felt like Illinois was just making more plays. But I still felt like the problem in overtime is that they couldn't run it. So at some point, when you're inside the 25, you're going to have to get some yards on the ground. And should they have taken offense first? I don't know. I don't know that it would have mattered. I just felt like they weren't. They were 10 cup on the driving range, hitting the little dribblers down the line of the other golfers. I mean, they got in a tight spot. They didn't think they could do it. So totally different vibe than in Colorado, where they felt like everything was working. They got hit in the mouth, and they didn't respond the right way. So, but again, there's something, the rule is the coach's job to get these guys over the finish line. But there's something about losing, sometimes the best teacher is losing. So if these guys are competitors, if they've had enough, they'll step up.
Yeah, I mean, there's your adversity for you early in the season. You definitely make the argument that if there's time to learn, the better the earlier. So hopefully, if you're a Nebraska fan, that adversity only helps them out in the future and will certainly help, even a team like Purdue. Nebraska once again opens up as a favorite. I think most fans have certainly learned, if they're drinking a lot of the Rule-Aid, Kool-Aid, whatever you want to call it, let's just go 1-0 and stop circling games in the future. All right, let's talk about Dayton Raiola. Already commits to Nebraska for the class of 2026. You're looking at these classes. We also got TJ Lateef, another highly touted quarterback in that 2025 class. We still got Danny Kalen, who's redshirting right now, part of that 2024 class with Dylan Raiola. When it comes to Dayton, I think he's about 5'11". Good chance he's still growing. But what do you kind of see in his game, and how similar is it to a guy in Dylan Raiola? I know it's 2026, plenty of things can happen, but with the connections with the Raiolas here at Nebraska and everywhere, and part of his statements why he chose Nebraska, it feels like it should be not a tons of twists and turns like we've seen in the past, in particular with Danny Kalen. What do you kind of see in Dayton Raiola, and how similar is that game to his brother?
Yeah, I got to be honest. I don't follow the recruiting like some people, so I have not seen him play. I just know the last name, and if certainly they wanted him, he's got game. So I like the way they go after the quarterbacks. It's a very competitive position. Yes, not everybody stays. But you got to have a lot of depth there. It's going to matter, and what I'm really interested in, especially after this season, is now that people have had a look at Nebraska's quarterback, who wants to come play with them? How many guys are going to line up in the portal to come here? The NIL's good, and you got a chance to play with this guy for at least a couple of years or so. It's going to be fascinating. I think it's going to give them a chance to really add on to the roster going into the next season. But certainly recruiting is important. I'm an old school guy. I've always loved offensive linemen. I think the quarterbacks certainly very important. They've changed the game. You better take care of that offensive line. They better, and they have been. You've got to build that up. Offensive line and defensive line going forward in this league. You got to have it. You got to have those. You got to have studs up front. And so, yes, I love the quarterbacks, but I'd like to see them as well get the big time linemen in there.
Yeah, no, nobody in the state of Nebraska is going to want to disagree with you there. All right, Tom Shatel, as we wrap things up, where can the people follow you on Twitter if they want to go ahead and do that and give you a follow?
Yeah, it's Shatel at OWH, whatever the Twitter. It's not .com. It's just at Tom Shatel OWH. So I did that. I joined Twitter a long time ago, and that's what I came up with. So nothing fancy.
Easy enough to find, though, right? All right.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, appreciate the time. Tom Shatel, like I said, of the Omaha World Herald, wrap things up with him. Go ahead, give him a follow on X, Twitter, whichever one you want to call it. And we'll talk to him again next week. Tom Shatel, appreciate the time.
Thanks.
All right, that's going to do it. Like I said, once again, appreciate the time from Tom Shatel of the Omaha World Herald, as always. But don't go anywhere. Keep things rolling on Ticket Weeknights. DeMornay Piersonell, the former Husker wide receiver, special teams threat. Speaking of special teams, he's probably had plenty of things to say about this Illinois game. maybe talk about the Raiders too. I don't know if I want to bother him that much about his Oakland Raiders, but they give the Panthers their first win of the season. So plenty of things to talk about with the former Husker. Up next, right on Ticket Weeknights.